Angela, to bring you in, those battleground polls also show Donald Trump pulling in 19% support from black voters. That is actually triple what he got in 2020. What do you make of that? What is he doing right to win them over?
I don't make anything of these polls that are talking to imaginary black folks. I would love to know, for one, who they're talking to, because I've not seen.
So you think that they don't exist?
I think that they are, maybe, you know what, they might be the invisible man that Ralph Ellison talked about in his book. I don't know who these people are.
On the road again and trying to make major inroads with voters in the state where she defied the odds with President Biden in 2020, that would be Georgia. And Vice President Harris is taking her campaign through GOP strongholds in southern Georgia. It's part of a 2-day tour with her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, their first appearance together in the state and first time back on the trail since the convention, visiting a barbecue joint and dropping by a high school.
We wanted to come by to remind you that our nation is counting on you. We're so proud of you and everything you have achieved. And I will tell you, I was in band when I was your age. So I know a little bit about, Coach knows about the players, right? And all that you all are doing, it requires a whole lot of rehearsal, a whole lot of practice. But all that practice makes for beautiful music. And that is a metaphor, that is symbolic for everything that you all will do in your lives.
I think Kamala will make a great addition to Sesame Street, or she'll be a great host of a new edition of Reading Rainbow, because her baby bot bimbo babble is perfect for your average 4-year-old. But Miss Pretending and Chameleon, we're going to need to read some policies and tangible benefits for Black Americans before we even think about taking you seriously. And Angela Rye here is in complete denial. I'm sure any day now she's going to start crying to convince Black folks to come back to the plantation and support Kamala the cosplaying chameleon before it's all over. We're going to get into it, but first, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates.
And as the Democratic ticket tries to put the Peach State back in play, a brand new poll tonight shows it might already be. A Fox News survey shows Harris gaining ground in Sun Belt battlegrounds, among them Georgia. Harris with 50% support among registered voters and Donald Trump at 48%. So incredibly tight within the margin of error. So there is no clear leader. But the fact that Georgia is competitive right now is big news in itself. The survey attributes Harris's gains to strong support among women, Black voters, and young voters. So let's take the pulse of the people in Georgia and beyond. My sources tonight are multimedia mogul Charlamagne the God, host of the Breakfast Club radio show, and author of the new book, Get Honest or Die Lying: Why Small Talk Sucks. Could not agree more with that sentiment. And Angela Rye, CEO of the political advocacy firm Impact Strategies and the co-host of the Native Land podcast.
She says she's going to check the pulse of people in Georgia. So she called Charlamagne. He can tell you a thing or two about South Carolina, maybe even New York. But I don't know what he's got to do with the average person in Georgia. And Angela Rye, I know you're not going to ask a woman from Seattle about people in Georgia. She's got more in common with Kamala than your average Black in Georgia. Listen, CNN and all the mainstream media calling the boule is not going to help Kamala out in Georgia. I said this before about Stacey Abrams. Y'all had to find out the hard way. The pulse of deep southern Georgia can't be confirmed nor checked by Angela Rye. That's just the truth. Angela Rye don't know nothing about Attapogus. Nah, Angela can't tell me nothing about people in Brunswick or Tifton, Georgia or Columbus, Georgia. They love bringing these New York City and Washington, D.C. workers on here like they represent the grassroots. And that's where they get their intel from to spread to the masses. But no, this is not checking the pulse.
Great to see you both. I'm excited to see what you have to say tonight. Charlamagne, let's kick it off with you. You see that poll that I mentioned earlier. It's a snapshot in time, of course. No clear leader. But Georgia is a swing state again. That was not the case with President Biden. What does this signal to you? Do you think she can keep the momentum going and keep Georgia in play?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having us tonight. And Absolutely. The VP is doing exactly what she needs to be doing. We all know this isn't a traditional campaign because of the short window she has. So she's got to go out there and she's got to leave no stone unturned. She's got to shake every hand, kiss every baby. That is what campaigning is. Campaigning is explaining yourself and your policies to everybody, and don't let social media fool you. I like the vibes, but the vibes aren't going to be what wins you this election. People want policy. People want something tangible that they can feel, that can make them feel better about their circumstances. And she's going to have to go out there every single day and explain how she is going to do that for the American people. And she's doing it.
Charlamagne, she's not doing it. The policies are not on her website, and there's no Black American agenda either.
Angela, to bring you in, those battleground polls also show Donald Trump pulling in 19% support from Black voters. That is actually triple what he got in 2020. What do you make of that? What is he doing right to win them over?
I don't make anything of these polls that are talking to imaginary Black folks. I would love to know, for one, who they're talking to, because I've not seen.
So you think that they don't
anywhere.
exist?
I think that they are, maybe, you know what they might be the invisible man that Ralph Ellison talked about in his book. I don't know who these people are.
Angela is obviously in denial. It doesn't matter what party you're affiliated with. You can't deny that a lot of Black people are looking into Trump now. Some are also in support of third-party candidates like Cornel West, and others are literally watching with popcorn and already pledged their vote for the couch. Angela, what's imaginary is this fake manufactured support for Kamala Harris.
There was a Trump ad that was released, I believe today, that's targeting Black women voters. And there are these people who, allegedly exist all throughout the country, and they're reading scripts. You can see their eye line going over here. And I think some of them might be paid to say some of these things. I'm not sure.
If they got paid for a Trump ad, that will be no different from the money Angela Rye is cashing in on stumping for the Democrats. Those Democrat checks are huge. And Angela already told you she liked money, so it's a perfect marriage.
But here's what I do know, Pam. You talked about this not being the case, Georgia not being the case for Joe Biden. Joe Biden did actually win Georgia in 2020. And I also want to give some credit to Kamala Harris, who has been to Georgia 7 times.
Joe Biden won Georgia in 2020 by 10,000 votes. But this time around, when you examine it at the state level, Kamala is not doing as well in Georgia as her media street team is trying to convince us to believe. This time around in 2024, Joe Biden wasn't going to win Georgia, and it's a very high chance that Kamala won't either. She's got more of a shot in Virginia than Georgia, but those deep southern states like South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, she can forget about it. The Southerners don't want California politics. She may be able to fool some folks in Michigan or New Mexico, but no, Attapulgis, Georgia not supporting Kamala, and Atlanta doesn't represent the rest of the state.
This year, right? And so I think it's important for us to acknowledge the work that has been done. Their state directors talked about 35,000 new volunteers on the ground since Kamala Harris announced. They have well over 24 offices in that state. They're doing the work. And so what you do see with polls and what you do hear from folks who are registered voters is that the tide is changing, that they're excited about the change and the excitement that Kamala Harris brought to the top of the ticket. And I think we really got to give more credit to the work. I'm not giving any credit to these polls. Polls end up being wrong all the time. And I've seen polls that say 15%, 19%, 18% of Black folks. I don't believe it at all. I really don't.
True. The poll said Hillary was going to beat Donald Trump in 2016. But election night came when all the white feminists had complete meltdowns on live TV.
So I want to follow up with what you had said about, who are these voters? As I said, the 19% of Black voters supporting Trump. Our CNN's Ali Reeve actually recently spoke to a Black voter in Virginia who owns a shop that sells pro-Trump merchandise. Here's what she said about his outreach to Black voters, and I'll get your reaction on the other end.
I think their efforts are succeeding tremendously. All the things that have happened to President Trump, the attacks on him, have done nothing more than strengthen Black people's connection to him, because now he's someone who is the target of a struggle, and they have always felt that they've been a target.
All right, Charlamagne, what do you think about that?
I think that I can't speak for all Black people because we're not monolithic, and that woman cannot speak for all Black people because we're not monolithic. And Yeah, I think she sounds like
you're
a damn, to be totally honest, I think she sounds like a damn fool, but that's her opinion. And I do feel like, Democrats do owe black people a lot, but last election, 92% of black people voted for Democrats, and that has been the case for a long time. I see that being pretty much the case this year as well.
I want to follow up on that.
Can I just make one observation on that video real quick, Pepper?
Yep,
Did you see?
Absolutely.
Did you see the message that she had on there? Trump bulletproof 2024. She should at least take that one down, right? Like, that's just tone deaf. It's inappropriate. This man just survived an assassination attempt, right? Based on reporting on this network. That is in and of itself crazy. So to Leonard's point about a damn fool, I would have to agree with that too.
All right. So let's go back, Charlamagne, to bring you back in. Earlier this year, I was going back to look at some of your past interviews you've done, right? The dynamic has clearly changed. But when it was a Biden-Harris ticket, you said that you wouldn't support Biden's re-election, even if it meant Harris was VP. You told Politico in January that once the two got into the White House, Harris, quote, kind of disappeared. You told Politico, and it reported that you felt burned by backing her. What has she done specifically now to change your view?
They cut the check.
Well, I had an unrealistic expectation of, what I expected of her as the vice president. And the truth of the matter is that just comes in my belief of her. If you go back and watch an interview on Breakfast Club in 2018, I told her then that I thought that she could be the president of the United States of America one day. So I had I had a belief in her that, over those 3.5 years, over the last 3.5, 4 years, I know that administration, handcuffed her a lot. So what changed is that she's at the top of the ticket now. For her being at the top of the ticket now, she's the person that I believed in back in 2018. That person did kind of disappear over the last 3 years, but that is the role of the VP. I mean, if you're a vice president, you kind of, do. I don't want to say do nothing, because she did do a lot, but if you kind of like don't rock the boat and you let the president be the president, you did a great job.
No, Charlamagne, her role as VP made her the president of the Senate, where she was a tiebreaker voting on legislation that increased inflation. Her role as VP also included her duties over the border, and we all see she allowed millions of illegals to come into the country while promoting open border policies. Her role as VP was to help her AAPI community. $26 billion in federal funding in 2023, nearly $45 billion in 2022 and 2023 combined. Nah, she wasn't completely missing. She showed up for her people. She was just missing and couldn't do nothing for black people.
You did a great job.
Let me just follow up with you, because you said the last administration handcuffed her a lot. What makes you say that? I know you talked to Harris as well. Has she conveyed that to you? What makes you say that, or is it just like your observation?
No, she never conveyed that to me. I just know that that's what I observe. She's the vice president. That is the vice president's role. The vice president's role is to, push the agenda of the president and, support the president. And she did that, very well. But she's still the VP, but she's at the top of the ticket running to be the president. And I think that, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, the person that I know that I started, supporting way back in 2017, that's who I'm seeing front and center right now. And I love it.
Her agenda was on par with Biden's agenda. For the most part, they both had the same goals. They're acting like we don't remember she ran for president too. And her plan was so unpopular, she didn't get any votes and couldn't even make it through 2020. Remember, she had to drop out the race. I guess they think we all forgot, or at least they want us to forget.
Yeah, because you had said also earlier this year she could still pivot. It seems like what you're saying is she has pivoted to your liking.
She definitely pivoted. Like, I also said that the language of politics is dead. And, if you hear a lot of the things that she's saying now, she's really speaking her mind. Like, earlier today, she said Donald Trump is out of his mind. She should have said out of his mother effing mind. But, she was right in that sentiment too.
Pivoted to what exactly? How is cursing going to make her convey her message better? No, we all see it. Kamala's fake. Kamala the cosplaying chameleon. Where's the policies and agenda? Where's the plan? Sending out Angela Rye and Charlamagne to defend you is not going to help. We need tangibles. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Let me know what you think below. Special thanks to Rob P. I appreciate you, Rob, for all of your support, as well as Hendrix, Ikefob, Darius, Mark C, Edmund, Carlos, and Roland C. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.